Alright, let's get this stream started here. I actually am already starting. I was just trying to get some stuff finished up before we really get into the meat of this. I'm going to be doing some work on some new systems today, and I want to see if we can... I want to see if we can get it totally functional by the end of this stream. It may not necessarily be perfect and pretty and all that stuff, but we'll do what we can here. So the first thing that I need to do is I actually need to put together, I need to choose 3 more icons that I want to use within my main icon set, format them for a consistent format. Everything's got this solid black outline. I can't have things like the softer outline that these icons have. But I should probably actually explain what I'm doing here. So I'm working on a new system for Thrall today. And it's, I was trying to think about what felt flat or stale or unfinished about Thrall. And I don't think it's the combat. I feel like the combat is actually very well fleshed out now. The dungeon generation I'm feeling is pretty decent. The skill trees I'm really, really happy with. But there's definitely a missing piece. And I was trying to think about what is that missing piece. Let me just make sure I've got my scenes set up correctly. Yeah, no, we're good. Okay. I was trying to figure out what that missing piece is. And I was playing through Hades and Hades 2. And what I like about those games is that every run is different, but you have control over a variety of different aspects at the start of every run that lets you prepare for each run. So, for example, in Hades, you can select your Mirror of Night settings, which are passive settings that let you just kind of affect various different traits about you, the player. Oh, sorry, 1 second here. Okay, no, I'll deal with that later. So you can select your Mirror of Night settings. You can obviously select your weapon, which changes pretty much everything about how the build you're going to do is going to play out. But the other thing that you can choose is your keepsake. And keepsakes in Hades are kind of nice because they can either give you a passive buff throughout the entirety of the run, or they can influence what types of boons you get. And I like that idea. And I'm thinking about it, and I realize that there's probably 2 critical components that are missing to Thrall to really make it feel more fully fleshed out. And first and foremost is preparation for your next run. Now, the dungeons in Thrall are not like runs in Hades where you're expected to lose, at least until you really get a solid understanding of the system. You're expected to win. The dungeons aren't meant to be so insanely challenging that, yeah, it's going to take you multiple tries. But so far, the only thing you can actually do to prepare for a dungeon is either go to a lower level dungeon to get a higher level, which really doesn't do anything but unlock more skill points and allow you to equip better weapons. It doesn't increase your stats. You can buy weapons and armor or consumable items from the shops, which will maybe let you change up your equipment a bit, but it doesn't make a huge difference one way or another. Like, you can find that stuff in the dungeon itself. You don't really need to buy... What am I doing? What is going on here? You don't really need to buy weapons and armor or find items or buy items to have them for your next run, because you can find them in the dungeon itself. And then the only other thing you can maybe do is respec your characters and get maybe new skill tree layout. But again, like, once you've kind of figured out your preferred build, there's not really much reason to do that. What I would like to do is implement a system similar to the Hades keepsake system, where you can maybe take, I think I'm going to call them trinkets. I don't want to completely rip off Hades. I'd like to at least try to, you know, have some originality to it. So I'm going to call it a trinket system. You can select a trinket and take that trinket with you into the dungeon, and it will give you passive buffs. And I have an idea for 24 different trinkets, and I've got 21 set aside already. And I may switch some of these out. Like, I can tell you right now, the lamp is going to go. I don't want the lamp. But I've got an idea for 24 different trinkets that I want to implement into the game. And I just need to get icons for the last 4 now, I guess. So let me just finish up doing that, and then we will jump into the actual implementation of the system. The first thing I need is some sort of water vial. That's the wrong window. Here we go. No, yeah, okay. I'd like to avoid using RTP icons if I can, but some of them are actually quite useful. Some of them are actually not too bad. So I will... Like, I could maybe go with this one, but I don't know if I really want that. You know what? Let me bring in my other, much larger icon set. And we'll choose some icons to use for our trinkets here. Let's see. There's also a few that I know I'm going to want that are in this icon set, so I will... Yep, there's one right there, actually. I do want this here. I'm going to call this one a voucher. I know exactly what that's going to be for. So first things first, the format of this icon is different from every other icon in this set, so I do need to change that. As you can see, everything's got kind of that solid black border. This one does not, so let's fix that. Done. Good, okay, so 3 more. Yes, let's see if I can find like a water vial of some kind, but something that looks kind of ornate, something that's... Okay, we got some options here. Yeah, lots of options here that we could make use of. Let's try to find something kind of fancy looking that also matches the style of what we're using here. And once I got the remaining icons, we'll actually start working on implementing this system. Okay, here's some options. I kind of like... maybe not. You know what? Here's a thought. I have an idea for a bottle that I could use right now, and I don't know if I'm already using it. I don't think I am. Where is it? Yeah, these. I kind of like that angle of the bottle. Let's see if I don't think I'm using that anywhere. I'm not. No, I'm not. Okay, let's use that one. That actually, I like that icon. I used that in the previous game for something very, very small that was hardly used at all. So let's go ahead and use that. You know what, though? I'm going to try something. Because I don't know if I like that color. Let's take the red one here, and then let's do it this way. There we go. Yeah, that's nice. And let's change the color to a more pale blue like that. Although I'm realizing it's getting the cork as part of that, and I don't want that. There we go. Let's try that again. Yeah, let's go minus 170. That's good. Am I frozen? What is happening? Okay, there we go. Okay, perfect. That'll do. Let's bring that in and bring it down. Good. Okay. 2 more. What do I need here? I need, let's see, I got a voucher, I've got the water, I need some form of strong liquor, and I've actually got an icon I can use for that right here. That's exactly what I want. I already thought of that before I even started this. I'm going to bring it down with the other one so that it's nicely sorted. It does mean that there's duplicate icons in this set, but that's okay. I want to make sure that they're all clustered together as it makes sense. I'm actually realizing that's a little bit off-center, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Yeah, let's just bump that up a pixel. There we go. Yeah. And I guess that means the other one is off-center too, isn't it? Yep, sure is. So let's just cut and paste that, bump it up 1, merge it down, there we go. Yeah, that one was off-center. I can't believe I didn't notice that. Okay. And one more, I need something that would represent a scapegoat in an icon format. And I'm thinking of making it like a literal goat. Like maybe a stuffed goat. If I can find something like... Okay, I probably shouldn't use a Pokemon rip, but I mean, that would be hilarious. No, let's see. But that would be, yeah, that would be hilarious if I could find like a little... I'm already using the teddy bear for something different. It doesn't have to be a goat. It doesn't have to be a... This is a keepsake that's going to provide 1 hit of damage immunity per battle, so it could really be just about anything. But I would like it to be something that at least makes a little bit of sense. It doesn't have to, though. I mean, that's the thing. If you think about the Hades keepsake system, the keepsakes, most of them actually relate to the characters that award the keepsakes, but very few of the keepsakes actually have anything to do with their effects. Like, for example, the Lucky Tooth giving you 1 extra death defiance. Like, why does a tooth give you an extra life? Or the Old Spike Collar giving you bonus health. Why does a collar give you more health? Like, that doesn't... It doesn't really make sense, but it doesn't need to. And I'm kind of going with the same concept here. It's like, I'd like to have them make sense if possible. Like, for example, the charcoal increases your odds of finding fire weapons. The mirror gives you bonus chance of getting multi-weapons, weapons that hit more than once. Or the whetstone gives you weapons that have higher critical hit damage. The coin is something that's going to give you like a chance-based effect. Like a 50-50 kind of coin flip type thing. The bell attracts certain types of enemies. Like, I'm trying to make them make sense in context, but they don't necessarily have to. They don't... Not everything needs to make sense. Let's see. Something I could do. No, that might actually work. So there's a icon that I currently have set aside for a different keepsake that I don't actually think makes sense to use for that, so I could maybe try something different for that one. And let's just bring in like a pendant or a charm of some kind in place of that. Oh, actually, oh, okay, no, I know exactly what I'm gonna do. Yeah. So, first things first, this mask, I'm gonna take this one, I'm gonna move that over. That will be our warding keepsake. But then the one that I'm gonna use here is gonna be a book, because that's a keepsake that increases your odds of finding armors that give bonus experience. So I think a book makes sense for that. Maybe some options here. Let's just quickly check the RTP from VX-Ace. I don't really want to rely too much on these, but they are well-designed icons. If there's one here that really makes sense, no, a lot of that's really generic. No, okay, let's maybe find something. Oh, okay, I'm actually looking at a ton of books right now. Some of them don't look great. I kind of like this one. I kind of like that one. That doesn't look bad. I don't know if I like the color, but I like the design. So let's take that. And I can get rid of those. Let's bring this down. Let's center that a little bit better. Yeah, I think that's good. Okay, and let's change the color, especially the blue. I'm not really sure I'm keen on that. Let's maybe make it a nice green, because the green is the color that's being used to represent XP in this game. I think that makes sense. Because, yeah, our XP icon is these here. So having the book kind of match that color, I think, would work nicely. Okay, and I think that's it. Yeah, I've got 13 icons here, 11 here, that's 24. Perfect, okay. With that, we can export these. And now we've got all our icons. Now, one thing I do want to make note of real quick before I go any further. 1368. 1368. So that would be... Nope. Ah, jeez. No, 24. 57. So it's in the 57th row, which means that this icon ID is 912. Okay, that's good to know. I will make note of that. Okay, and with that, let's actually jump into implementing this system. So, first things first, there's two steps that I'm going to have to do here. One is the actual implementation of the system itself, making it so that the keepsakes function. And then the other is the UI. And I think I actually need to start with the UI, because how am I gonna be able to select them if I don't have some sort of menu for them to appear in? Yeah, and implementation is going to be a little bit tricky because a lot of these are going to require a lot of... It's going to require a lot of hard coding for a lot of these. It's going to require some very direct implementation into the game's internal scripts. my brain's a little muddled right now, but yeah, we'll figure it out. Okay, so my thought with this is that this is a system that I want to have become available fairly early, but have it develop gradually over time. And what I think I want to do, every character, Jafar, Raphael, Jess, Lucille, and Davenport, all offer 2 different types of services. So Davenport, you can talk with him, you can shop from him, or you can craft items. Jafar, I'm actually realizing Davenport's menu options are a little mixed up there. Jafar, you can shop from him. Once you gain access to your first shard, you can manage shards from him. That's a whole separate system that is complicated on its own. Jess at the bar will offer optional side missions and the pain system. Lucille offers monster biographies and respecs. Raphael offers storage capacity and backpack capacity upgrades, as well as item appraisals to figure out what unique and legendary weapons do or what prefixes mean. But Emily here, she's got no second service. All she does is open up the armor shop, which is great. That's a very useful service. But I think that Emily could be used to make the trinket system take effect. And what I think I want to do is, after you complete the first optional side mission for Emily here, that mission is basically to retrieve her teddy bear from the first dungeon you go to. You basically just have to run through the dungeon again and get to the end of the dungeon. But once you get the teddy bear from her, it appears behind her on this barrel. I want to make that the first trinket in this system. So once you've retrieved that teddy bear, then she'll actually offer that trinket menu where you'll be able to go through and select whichever one's available. The other thing I want to do, now this is where it's going to be a little bit different from the Hades keepsake system. The Hades keepsake system, basically you unlocked keepsakes by providing nectars to different characters throughout the game. I don't really know how that would make sense to implement in here because there's a much smaller cast of characters here. So instead, what I think I'm going to do is I want a challenge board. Just a list of a series of different challenges that if you complete the challenge, you unlock the keepsake, or the trinket in this case. And with that, it kind of ties into what the trinket would be. So for example, one that increases your odds of finding fire weapons or fire armors, you'd have to sell or salvage a certain amount of fire weapons or armors to unlock it. Like, that's the challenge you'd have to complete. So for this system, what I think I want to do is Emily's going to handle all of it here, and I think it's going to be one UI for both, but you can tab between the two. One will be the trinket system where you can equip a trinket and see what it does. The other you tab over and it's the challenge board that actually unlocks them. So both of that I want to have Emily handle. So for that, we're going to need to actually do a new custom scene. And I think what I'm going to do with this just trying to think what I want to do for the UI, and I think maybe I'll duplicate the accessibility menu because it's very, very simple. It's super, super simple. There's very, very little within this menu, but I can duplicate its format. Yeah, I think that'll work. either that or the menu system options. And this one's a bit more complicated though. But if I basically take... Actually, maybe I should duplicate the feature shop instead. Now let me just increase the window size here. Because this here is essentially what I'm looking for. We'd have like a little descriptive window at the top here that says, you know, okay, select a trinket to equip or something, with maybe a little tab menu in the corner here, and I may actually split the windows in two and make them two separate windows. And this one here would say, like, you know, this is the trinket menu, this is the challenge board, with some button prompts to show that you can tab between them. And then here, this would list all your trinkets, or when you tab over, it would list all the challenges available, with a description of everything as you highlight it at the bottom. I would need to figure out a way to indicate when a trinket is equipped, but I think what I could do for that is actually take these boxes here. These normally indicate when a weapon is better or worse than what you currently have equipped. I could take that green box and have it highlight whatever trinket you currently have equipped. So if I say, oh, I've got this trinket equipped, a green box would appear. If I go down here, and then select this one, the green box moves over here, kind of thing. You know, that's just my first initial thought. That's probably the simplest way to do it. I may change that later as we go along, but we'll see. Yeah. So I wonder if maybe actually I should implement one of them just in its basic functionality first, and then tackle the UI. Because the UI is going to be... oh, probably the most frustrating thing, honestly. The implementation, I already feel like I know what to do. No, I should do the UI first. I really should. Okay. Okay. So, the feature shop. Yep, I'm going to do that. I'm going to duplicate the feature shop. I'm going to rename this as the trinket interface. Oh, didn't mean to close it. And we'll... what was that? Sorry, I just heard some weird sound that made me think... you know what, let me actually just check this. It sounds like someone's in my home. Nope, we're good. I'm just... yeah, okay. It's minus 30 outside, and I live in a condo with a radiator that makes weird noises when it gets too cold, so that's probably all it was, but that was freaky. Okay. Okay, so we'll go module trinkets. There we go. And then this is actually where I'm going to store all the information regarding the trinkets. I may also want to... yeah, there we go. Okay. Actually, better yet. I may want to rename this. Hold on. This is terrible naming scheme. Don't do this. I'm gonna create an array of trinkets in the module trinket. That's a terrible naming scheme. Don't do that. I'm probably gonna fix that. But what I will do, I'm gonna copy this kind of format though. Essentially, what this is gonna be, I will have an ID for the trinket and an icon ID, like an icon index. I forget what the icon ID was for the first one. Let me reopen it, because I am not going to be able to remember it just off the top of my head here. I'm just going to put a random number in just to start so I don't screw it up. Okay, it's at position 1368. 1368 divided by 24 is 57. Multiplied by 16, 912. There we go. Okay. So the first trinket is going to have an ID of 1. 912, right? My brain. I don't need those. Okay, so it'll have an ID of 1. It'll have a icon index of 912. Why do I feel like that's wrong? I just did that. Okay, whatever. The name. Yeah, the next entry in this array will be the trinket name, which I think the first one is going to be glowing charcoal. Followed by a description. Grants plus 15%. I may change that. I think 15% is good. 10% feels a bit too low, but 20% is too high. I'm finding fire, weapons, and armors. Grants plus 15% chance of finding fire, weapons, and armors. And that's the format I'm going to use for the trinkets. Yeah, the ID, the icon index, the name, the description. I do not need to worry about the enemies, but I will rename this one as challenges. And same kind of thing. I'm going to have the index of the challenge match that of the trinket. I don't think I need to worry about an icon index for this one, but instead I will likely need to assign it to a variable. Yeah, what I'm thinking about for this challenge board is basically, I'm just going to use a variable to track your progress, and then I got to actually figure out where to increment that variable as you make progress through it. So, I think for the challenge board, we'll go with the variable ID. I'm just going to go with 1 for now. Just placeholder. And then a threshold as well. I'm just realizing you probably can't see what I'm doing. Let's zoom in a little bit. I wish I could expand this window size, but it's unfortunately a fixed size. You can't change it. You can't make it wider or anything like that. That's annoying. Okay, so I'm going to have an ID that matches the ID of the trinket. I'm going to have a variable. Hey, Plexi, hello. How you doing? Working on a new system today. I'm hoping that I can get it fully implemented by the end of the stream. So I think, yeah. I haven't finished my coffee yet, so my brain's not quite keeping up where it should be. But okay, ID matching the ID of the trinket. A variable tracking the progress. A value that tracks the threshold you need to hit to complete that challenge. The name of the challenge. And then the description of that challenge. Oh, no, don't do that. and I don't need those values at the end. So for the description of the challenge, sell or salvage. I'm just going to make it 10 for now. I'm probably going to increase that later. 10 fire, weapons, or armors. There. So that's basically what we're going to do. We're going to have an array for all the data we need for the trinkets, and an array for all the data we need for the challenges. I should actually include one more. Do I need to do that? Yes, I do. Yep, I need to have a switch that indicates whether or not that challenge has been completed and that trinket has been unlocked. Yep, I do need to do that. So, yep, I'll put that in right at the end here, so that's... Again, just placeholder, 1. And you know what, let's actually make that happen right now. Let's assign some switches here. I've got more than enough pages here. Okay, I'm actually, yeah, we'll just do this here. Charcoal. Let's just make a note of all our trinkets that we actually want to unlock. And then we will have our switches in place that indicate whether or not they actually are unlocked. So we've got glowing charcoal, increases chance of finding fire weapons and armors. My notebook does not want to stay open here. I need a paperweight or something. Here's an old teacup. There we go. That works. Glowing charcoal, increases chance of finding fire weapons. Frozen coral, increases chance of finding ice weapons and armors. The static yarn increases the chance of finding shock weapons and armors. And the Deadly Lotus... Blech, blech. Deadly Lotus increases the chance of finding weak weapons and armors. Then there's the Brass Knuckles. Knuckles will increase the chance of finding knockback weapons. The Golden Wing increases the chance of finding fast weapons. The Whetstone increases the chance of finding crit damage weapons. And the bleh. And the Shiny Mirror increases the chance of finding multi-weapons. Then we go into our armor accessories. There's the Blood Vial, which increases the chance of finding regen armors. The Closed Seashell increases the chance of finding cooldown armors. And the Broken Horn, which increases the chance of finding Thorns armors. And then for the last one here, oh no, there's 2 more for armors here. Yeah, there's the Lucky Clover. The Clover increases the chance of finding less crit armors. And instead of the mask for bonus XP, we're going to go with that book that we chose earlier. And we'll call it the Ancient Tome or something. I may change that later. But yeah. Tome increases the chance of finding bonus XP armors. Okay. Now we're into the ones that give more passive effects that are not finding specific types of loot, although that is important as well. Making sure that you can actually influence what kind of loot you can find is going to help influence what kind of build you can create without just handing it to you. It still is only a chance. Teddy Bear. First keepsake you'll ever get. Restores health for every dungeon floor you progress. The Alluring Bell, I like this one, increases the chance of finding elite enemies. It's a good risk reward. Elites are tough. You still have to clear the encounter to get the reward. but they always drop a rarer item or better. The Feather Fan adds 2 extra items per dungeon floor that you can find. The Old Joker reduces your max HP by 30%, but gives you plus 15% crit chance. The Silver Coin, it's a 1 in 3 chance of getting either a normal encounter, a preemptive strike, or an ambush. So it actually implements ambushes and preemptive strikes into the game where previously they didn't exist. The Ornate Key, which increases the amount of loot you find per chest. Smoke Bomb, which gives you the opportunity to survive 1 failed encounter. So if there's an encounter in a dungeon, not against a boss, where you would die, it would end the encounter as though you just escaped. Tranquil Water makes it so that every 5th floor there will be no enemies on that floor, and you can just explore freely. So if there's any items or chests, you don't need to worry about any enemies on those floors. The Voucher, I still haven't figured out a prefix for that one, but makes it so that anytime you salvage an item, instead of salvaging it, you just instantly sell it. Great for getting extra money, but it means you won't get any materials. The Scapegoat we've now changed for the mask, and we'll call it the Warding Mask. Do these apply 1 per character, 1 per player? It's going to apply to the entire party for the entire duration of the dungeon. So the idea is that you select the trinket before you enter the dungeon, and then once you do, the entire party gets the effect of the trinket. The Warding Mask especially is probably going to be the one that benefits that the most, because it basically grants 1 hit of damage immunity per battle, but it's going to reduce your max health by about 30%. So it'll be really, really helpful against standard encounters. You just don't take damage for the first hit, and if you can clear it fast enough, you just won't take any damage. But against a boss or a long drawn-out fight, yeah, you're immune to the first hit, but then you have less health for the rest of the fight. So it's kind of a risk-reward in that sense. But yeah, no, the trinkets will apply to the entire party for the duration of the dungeon. What else here? One more. Right, the Strong Liqueur, which will increase the amount of damage that your overdrive techniques do. Okay, so now we've got our switches that will indicate whether or not these trinkets have been unlocked, and it's going to start with switch 70. So start with switch 70. There we go. I'm not muted, am I? Okay, no. Every now and then I press the wrong button and mute myself. Happened a few streams ago, and that was kind of unfortunate. Okay, so the trinkets, yep, switch 70 will unlock when you complete this challenge, and when switch 70 is set to true, then that trinket is unlocked and you can access it in the menu. The other thing here that I wanted to do was the variable. Yes, I think 10 is too few, especially because you can do both weapons and armor, so let's set that to 20. I'll change the threshold to 20 there. We should set variables for tracking challenge progress now. Just do this now while I'm thinking about it, rather than waiting for later. I don't have enough in a row there, so let's just add an extra. Let's just increase our variable count to 200, and we'll go from here. Okay. I'm going to name them the same ones, though, just to make it consistent. So, charcoal, coral, oh, come on now, yarn, lotus, knuckles, come on. Excuse me. Wing. Oh, jeez. What am I getting hiccups or something? The whetstone, the mirror, the... Blah, come on now. Blood vial, the seashell, the broken horn, lucky clover, and then the tome. Good. Where was I? There we go. Yeah, teddy bear, alluring bell, feather fan, and then the old joker, silver coin, ornate key, smoke bomb, tranquil water, the voucher, why can't I think of what I replaced that with? Oh yeah, the mask. And the liqueur. I think liqueur, I don't know. That's just liquor, but okay, that's fine. And what is the first variable in that list? They're all consecutive, which makes this easier. 161, okay. So the variable that's tracking our progress on that challenge is 161. Good. Okay, great. All right, that's a good start for setting up our modules. Now, okay, I do not need these prefixes. That's just for the separate... Yeah, no, I don't need any of that from that module. So that trims down our module quite nicely. You know, I'm going to rename this cabinet. Module cabinet. It's much better than module trinket and then the array trinkets within the module trinket. And I'm thinking like it's a cabinet that's containing all your trinkets and the challenges that unlock them. So there. Cabinet module, trinkets array, challenges array. Okay. I do think I want to try implementing these just one right away here. So let's actually start with... I want to implement the teddy bear, which should be the 14th trinket in the list, because there's the first 13 are for the loot types, and then right after that is ones that actually apply modifiers. The teddy bear is going to be the first one that you unlock after that, so 14. And what I'm going to do for that is have a variable that actually determines which trinket you have equipped. And that is going to be the driving force behind the entire thing. So if variable 185 is set to 14, that means you have the 14th trinket active, and everything is going to revolve around that. It's super simple, but it doesn't need to be complicated, honestly. So, when I set variable 185 to 14, it should apply the bonuses for the teddy bear. So, what I'm going to do, if my computer decides to load, what the teddy bear is going to do is it's going to provide 10% health restoration for the entire party every time you proceed to the next floor. Which basically just means in this common event, I just need to implement that check, and it should work for every single dungeon. So let's do that. So in our proceed one here, let's see. Yeah, dungeon progress +1. If you are at the size of the dungeon, then it goes to the boss room. Otherwise, it goes to any other random floor. It doesn't really matter at that point. What really matters is if you're proceeding in the dungeon. It doesn't matter if you're going to the boss or if you're going to just to the next floor. So right in here, we're just going to do a check. We're going to see is trinket equal to 14. Don't need to apply any additional handling. This is the only thing that we needed to do. If it is, what we need to do... This is actually probably going to be easier to do in a script call than just through basic eventing. For m in game party dot members, we're going to take we're going to go just x is equal to m dot max HP. X is equal to 1/10 of itself, and then m dot HP is plus equal to x. That should work. So it's going through every single party member, storing its max HP, getting 1/10 of that, and then adding it to their current HP. Done. Easy. That should be all I need to do. Yeah, so let's just test that. Let's just do a quick test. It should be as simple as that. Actually, implementing the trinkets is not going to be that challenging, I don't think. Oh, what am I doing? I probably shouldn't go with... Oh, and I'm frozen. I probably shouldn't go with the file that has really high-level characters, because I want to just test this in the Bloodstone mine. So let's go with some low-level characters. I'll increase our window size here. Please. Okay, there we go. Okay, first thing I need to do is I need to get into an encounter. I need to take some damage. I'm going to test this without that trinket variable set first. Wow, why is my computer so slow today? What is going on? I'm looking at switching from Windows. I want to move over to Linux. Because I swear, ever since the last few Windows updates, my computer's just gotten slower and slower and slower, and I'm sick and tired of Windows and their broken updates. I'm frozen again. There we go. Jeepers. Okay, let's turn off auto kill because I'm pretty sure I'm over leveled for this dungeon. So let's get into a quick encounter here. Jeez, yeah, this is bad. Oh, this is so bad. Oh, wow, okay. This is totally fine. I don't have anywhere to be today. I'm going to try to get down to about half health. And if I can do that, then I can test this more effectively if the game doesn't freeze. Come on now. Yeah, it doesn't look like anybody's got any regen armors that would mess things up, so that's good. I'm just going to take a whole bunch of hits until I'm down to about half health with each character, and then I will test this both with and without the variable. Okay, Damien, you're starting to take a bit too much damage, so I'm going to throw you in stalking here. I don't want you to die. Okay, and then Lionel. Yep, that should be good. You know, it might be easier to actually finish these guys off. Yeah. Good enough. Okay. Good. Okay, so everybody's at a low enough health threshold that I should be able to test this out. I'm just going to turn on auto kill, but I'm going to walk through walls here just because I don't really care. I'm just trying to get through the dungeon. Okay, so 163, 49, and 199. It's gonna be slow again. Okay. All right. I hear Linux Mint is pretty easy to get into. I heard it's similar to Windows, but way better. And it's fairly compatible with almost everything I use. Okay, yeah, it doesn't look like a restoring health, so that's good. It's not doing random checks where it shouldn't be. So let's set our trinket to a random value that is not 14. Let's just set it to 20, and let's proceed and see if it does anything. It shouldn't. It should just only do this if trinket is set to 14. And I know that, but I want to make sure that I'm thorough in my testing. Yeah, no, okay, no restoration there, that's good. Let's see, let's find the exit real quick. Where's the exit? There it is, okay. Alright, now let's set trinket to 14 and see if this actually worked. So 163, 49, 199. There we go, they restored some health. Was it the correct amount? So 163 to 195, 328. So if we take 328 and divide that by 10, we get 32. So 163 plus 32 gives you 195. Yep, it's restoring 10%. That's good. Okay, so our trinket works. That's as simple as the implementation is going to be. Like, it really doesn't need to be any more complicated than that. Okay, good. So, let's get the rest of this UI working here. Okay, so our description window, I may need to actually change some of this. Right, no, because that's used specifically for the feature shop. I should probably change that. Window, trinket. Window, ooh, okay, hold on. Oh, I know what this is. That's at the very bottom. Yes, okay. Where's the label window getting initiated? I know this is the wrong script. I just want to see... Oh, okay, no, I see. Yeah, that's simple. Yeah, I can just use window base for that. I don't really need to worry too much about that, I don't think. Yeah. No, that should be fine. Okay. So yeah, the header window is going to be really, really simple. I may need to use two of them, though. Yeah, and I think I do. I want to split them up, I think. So really, all I need is the base... window that I'm thinking... the interface. So we'll call it window trinket, and that will actually be the, but it's a window selectable, not window base. Did I spell that right? Yes, okay. Now what I think I'm going to do here actually is, oh, I just realized. Wait, I just did that twice. Oopsie. No, yeah, description is the... Yeah, no, yep, okay. This is what I need here, yep. Window trinket is window selectable with 2 columns max, that's right. Yep, we're copying what we did for the feature shop here. And let's see. I do not need the appraise check, because that's just checking to see is it the appraisal window or the monster biography window. That's not necessary here. So we're going to refresh with just the data that gets included. I will come back to the window description. Data is equal to data.push nil if data size is less than 0, which will never really happen, but it's good to keep that just as a failsafe. Item max equal to data size, yes. Create contents for and 0 to item max. Draw item. Good. Okay. Now, in the draw item, this is where we're actually going to implement all the trinkets and challenges. I'm actually realizing there's quite a few viewers here that I probably have no idea what I'm working on, so I'll just kind of reiterate over that. I'm working on a new system in Thrall that is going to be similar to the keepsake system in Hades and Hades 2. Reason for that is that I feel like there's been something that's missing in Thrall, and I think it has to do with your influence over your progress through dungeons, as well as your preparation for dungeons. I like the combat, I like the skill trees, I like pretty much every system that I've implemented in Thrall so far, but there is one thing in particular that I feel has been missing, which is that there's not much you can really do to prepare for your next dungeon. You can buy new weapons or armors or items, but you can also just find those in a dungeon. You can maybe respec your characters and you know, try a different layout with your skill trees, but at the same time it feels like, well, you can kind of just, once you've got your preferred build, you don't really need to change that much, and you can adjust as you need to go. That doesn't really do much to prepare, but that's about it. There's really not much else you can do. What I like about games like Hades is that there's a lot you can do to prepare for the next run. It's still going to be random based on like what kind of boons you find, you know, what kind of build you put together, but you can choose what weapon you use to influence, you know, okay, do I want to focus more on my special or my attack or my cast or whatever? Or, you know, do I want to lean into one particular aspect of that weapon? You can change your Mirror of Night settings that give you passive buffs for your character as you go through the run, or just maybe allow you to influence things a little bit differently. And then there's a keepsake system as well, which allows you to take a trinket with you that lets you influence various aspects of the run, whether it's what Olympians and boons you find, or things like you get bonus max health, you get an extra life, you get backstab damage, stuff like that. I like that idea because it gives you a little bit of influence and control over how your next run is going to play out, and it opens the door to a lot of unique custom effects that can sometimes change the way that the game is played, and maybe can open up doors to new and different types of synergies. So I want to implement a system similar to the keepsake system in Hades. I'm calling it the trinket system here because I don't want to completely rip off Hades. But I'm definitely taking some heavy inspiration from that. And I'm going to implement it in a way that makes sense for this game. Like, Hades is very much run-based, kind of, you know, real-time combat, hack-and-slash kind of stuff. This is turn-based dungeon crawler RPG. Very different games, it's going to be very different implementation. But there are some things that I think would be really, really helpful that I can maybe take some inspiration for, such as the Olympian keepsakes, influencing what boon you find. In this case, I can take trinkets that influence what kind of loot you find, which will help to let characters dial in and focus in on a particular type of build if that's what they want to do. Like, say you want a character that has a fire sword with multi-accessory. Well, you can influence the type of loot you find to increase your odds of finding that if you're trying to go for a specific build that requires that type of weapon. So that's kind of what I'm working on right now. But first things first, we do have to get the UI in place. Okay, so draw item. This is where we're actually drawing all the trinkets in the game now. I do not need the appraise here because it's only one. This system's only being used for one thing. So if item is not equal to nil, in other words, we haven't pushed nothing into the trinket box. That's why we had our failsafe up here. Then we are going to draw the icon. Now, this is another thing I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to figure out do I want the challenges Yes, I do. Yep, I actually just realized that. Okay, so in the refresh, I'm going to set a... In the initialize, it's always going to be 0. But every time I refresh this window, I'm going to have to determine, are we looking at the trinket menu or the challenge menu? And I'm just going to call this menu. There we go. Refresh the data and the menu type. Actually, I'm going to be more descriptive. Data, menu type. And the first time you open this up, it's going to be 0. It's either just going to be 0 or 1, basically. And then draw item. We should not have to worry about... No, yeah, we do need to worry about that because that's going to determine... Menu type. Okay, hold on. Menu type. There we go. Just for the record, I'm not a professional coder. I've never taken courses or lessons on this. I've just learned this through actually just doing things and experimenting and trying new things. And after 20 years of trying and failing and making minor changes and then bigger changes and bigger changes and bigger changes, I've gotten to the point where I can basically code anything in this game. But it's gonna be spaghetti code. It's probably not gonna be, you know, as clean as it could be or anything like that. But that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to work. We can worry about optimization later, but honestly, I don't really think we need to worry about optimization for a game that's made in a 20-year-old game engine that pretty much any modern computer can run, probably without even sneezing. Like, yeah. Okay. So, draw item, okay. So if item is not equal to null, yep, then this is where we actually do need that case statement. So, case, menu type. And under draw item, I do need to actually include that as well. Keep our naming consistent. When 0, then we're going to do all of this. Otherwise, what happened there? What happened there? Oh no. Oh no. What happened there? What happened there? I somehow duplicated a line of code. Oh, good thing I zoomed out a bit here. I so wish I could expand this window size. This is so frustrating. Well, that's what happens when you use an engine that nobody should ever be using for this kind of stuff. If case went... Yep, nope, we're good. Okay. I had one extra end statement. Okay, so we're going to do the trinket menu first, then the challenge menu. So let's start with if the menu type is the trinket menu. We're going to draw the icon. Yes, so that is the ID. We need the icon, which is trinkets at 912. Now here's the thing. Nope, that comes later. So item at index of 1. Font color. Don't need to worry about that. That was specific for the appraisal menu. Then we're going to draw the text of... It is not item at 2. So we've got the ID, the icon index, the switch that determines whether or not it's actually active, and then the name. So 0, 1, 2, 3. So we're going to draw the text of item at 3. We don't need to change the color back because we never changed it in the first place. We don't need to set a price because there is no price. That's really it. Now the only other thing, we're drawing the items, but we haven't yet determined whether or not that particular trinket is equipped. So what I'm going to do here, I'm gonna do that right here. It's easy enough to do. I'm going to draw another icon after we've drawn the icon of the trinket and the text itself. What we're going to do is I'm going to set a specific icon index for this. I'm just going to put a number in there so I don't forget and accidentally crash the game if I... Yeah. Let's bring up the icon that we need for this. And this is going to determine whether or not we actually have that trinket equipped. I am looking for... If I suddenly stop talking and go silent for a few minutes, please let me know, because it means that I may have accidentally muted myself by pressing a hotkey. I'm trying to be really careful not to use my numpad, but I may forget. I need this icon here. So that is at 1272,336. So 1272 divided by 24 times 16 means it's in... Okay, so 848 should be this icon here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 858, 11, 12, so 860, 862. That should be the right icon. I'm just going to keep that open because I might still need it. So we're going to draw icon 862 if game variables at, what is it? Oh. What's the variable we need? I think it's like, it's not 612, but okay, it doesn't matter. Let's just bring that up and find out. 185. Ah! Ah! There we go. If game variables at 185 is equal to item at not 1, 0. So basically what we're checking there is if the trinket variable that determines which one we have equipped is equal to the ID of that trinket. And if it is, then we know that it's equipped and we can highlight that with that icon. I do want to make sure the ID, yeah, the ID is the first item there. Yep. Okay, good. Yes, good. Okay. We will add the drawing for challenges later. Let's focus on the trinket menu first, and then we'll make sure that the UI is all working properly. Then we can come back for that. Okay. Okay, that's, I think, all we need for the trinket menu. We really don't need much more than that. The next thing is our... We cannot call it window description, because that's already being used somewhere else. We can call... Oh, ow. Oh, my knee just popped a little bit. Window... it doesn't matter. Let's just... we'll name it after our module. There we go. Window cabinet description. It's a long name, but it doesn't matter. Let's just get it over with. Okay, so what we need is the icon. That's item 1. The font color we don't need to worry about. So we can get rid of all of the things that change the text color there. The name is item at 3. Yeah, we're drawing the word description, and then the text, which is item at 4. That's the actual item's description. There is no cost, so we don't need to worry about that. And that should be everything we need there. Yeah, that should be everything we need. Okay, good. Now, scene. Trinkets. Trinket. Scene trinket. There we go. Okay. Yeah, we don't need to worry about any parameters when we initialize this, because it will always initialize in the trinket menu, which means we don't need this. Good, okay, refresh data, that's something we'll need to look at, but first, okay, create menu background, the viewport, good, case, appraise, that's not something that actually matters yet. No, because this is all just initial processing. So what we're gonna do, yeah, stats window's fine. Window description, window stats, window description. Yeah, no. Stats window is going to be window. I'm gonna call that info window. Just actually no, I should keep that consistent because it may be used in other places that I don't want to forget. Cabinet description, right? Is that what we called it? Yeah, window cabinet description. There we go. And that's the only time we need to reference that long name. Everything else is going to be called stats window. Yep. Yeah, dimensions and coordinates should be the same. Header window. I need 2 of these. So, I'm going to call it... header window is fine, but it's going to be 304, not 608, because it's only going to take up half the screen. And then the other one is going to be called category window. So the first window is going to indicate, it's basically just going to say what you're doing on that screen. The second window is going to list the categories that you can tab between. And the X coordinate for that should be 304. Refresh header. Okay, item window is equal to window... It's not window appraise, now it's called window trinket. Data and, yeah, so that, the parameters that we need to pass in for that are just the X, Y, width, height, and the data. So X, Y, width, height, and data, we do not need the appraise one anymore. I don't think we do anyway. Let me make sure about that. No, not for the initialization. Only for the refreshing. Right. Okay. Good. Active true. Yes, good. Terminate. Make sure that we are disposing everything that we no longer need. So we've got our viewport, stats window, header window, item window, not our category window yet, so we'll dispose of that as well. Category window.dispose. There we go. And now everything should be disposed once we actually close the window. Return scene goes back to the map, yes. Refresh data. Okay, this is... Okay, we might actually need that variable. We don't want to call it appraise, obviously. Let's call it... We'll call it menu type, because that's what we're doing here. Menu type is 0 to start. And refresh data... Yeah, we don't need to pass anything into that, but that is something that we will be updating as we tab between menus. So, if the menu type is our trinket menu, this is where we're actually going to populate our data with our trinkets. Trinket menu, there we go. 1, 0. Oh my gosh, there's so much here. Okay. There we go. We just need the else statement there. Good. Okay, so please ignore my spaghetti code. Yes, okay. Alright, and this is where we're actually going to populate our data. Now, we only want to display the trinkets that we've actually unlocked. So how this is going to work, it's going to be, like, this is why we put all that data up here. With the IDs, the switch that determines whether or not it's been locked, all that. So, down here, when the menu type is equal to 0, we're looking at the trinket menu. We are going to... Let me actually keep some of this just as a baseline, but I don't think we need to worry too much about all of this here. There, okay. The cabinet module, trinkets. Yep, got the names correct there. I can probably run through a for loop for this. Yes, I can. Okay, so for I in blah, cabinet trinkets dot size for I in 0 up to cabinet trinkets size exclusive, because size gives the size of the thing, but it starts from 0, so I don't want to iterate past the end of it. Yeah. So up to and excluding the last number. Right, okay. So for I in 0 up to and exclusive the trinkets.size, what we're going to do is if it might be easier if I actually, you know what, yeah, it would be. Trinkets is equal to cabinet.trinkets. There we go. Then I don't have to call that every single time. And we'll go, if trinkets at I, better yet, trinket is equal to trinkets at I, if trinket at, I believe it's 2, nope, I know exactly what I'm doing wrong here. Game switches at trinkets at 2. So if this game switch, basically what we're doing is we're running through this array and checking, okay, so now we've assigned trinket to the first entry here. We're checking 0, 1, 2. If this game switch is true, then we're going to display the trinket. If not, we're going to pass it. We're going to skip it. So trinkets at, yeah, trinket is equal to trinkets at I, because this is the full array of them, but it's an array containing arrays. So we're going to assign that index of the whole array to a variable, and now we can work just within that internal array. And we're going to see if the game switch at that point in the array is true. And if it is, then we will push the data of that entire array into our data. Yes, that should work. And I can actually make this one line. There. There, and that's all we need for the trinket menu, because it'll iterate through the entire array. We don't have to do it for each individual one. That's why we added the switch that unlocks it into the data itself. Yes, that should work. And we can probably do the same for the challenges, honestly. Well, not quite, because there's going to be some differences for that. I would like to keep the challenges visible even after you've completed them, and just change the text color to green to show, hey, this has been completed, but keep the stats updating, so that you can actually refer back to that later and be like, oh, I've got a challenge that says I need to kill 500 enemies to unlock a trinket, but I want to have that persist and keep updating so that you can go back and be like, I know I completed the challenge, but how many have I killed now? And it shows like, oh, you've killed 2,000 enemies out of 500 needed to complete the challenge. And it kind of will be there as a way for you to keep track of your stats throughout the game. Okay, so that's good there. Refreshing the header, that is something that we need based on menu type. And this is going to say, hold on, when 0, else. Select a trinket to equip. Or I'm just gonna have this say challenges for now. There's not really a whole lot of, here, select a challenge to complete, how about that? Good. So that is our header window, yep. We don't need to worry about our goal, so I can actually just make that simpler. There we go. X, Y, width can be, hold on, what's 304 minus 16? Is that 288? It is, good, okay. X, Y, width, height, the text we're drawing, and then, yeah, the alignment centered, good. Okay, if last index is not equal to item window index, good, yeah. We really just want to make sure that we got the right one here. Item window is, in fact, the trinket window. Good, okay. Yep. Refresh that. Item window, yep, okay. Nothing we need to worry about there. This is where we actually do everything else, so we will need to check on that, but I'm actually tempted to boot this up now and see... tempted to boot it up and see if we can get it just loading in. It's not going to be functional, but it may at least give us an idea of what we're looking at. But before we do that, we should add the rest of the trinkets. So we need 24 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. And here's our array of trinkets. So we'll start by updating the IDs on all of them. Good. The icon indexes are consecutive, so we can just do this. They are not consecutive. I just realized that. Nope, they are not, and I do need to change that. But let's start with this, and then we can update from there. No, because after the first 13, it drops down to the next row. So, yeah, from here on, this is where they change. So, 9, 12 plus 16, 28? Yeah. Right? Yeah, 9, 12 plus 16 is 28. And then they're consecutive following that. Five, 36, 37, 38. Good. Okay. There's our icon indexes. The switches are consecutive, so we can make that work right now. 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93. Good. Okay, now the names. So we got the glowing charcoal, we've got our frozen coral, we've got static yarn, oh no. We've got our deadly lotus. Brass knuckles. Okay, yep, next one is golden wing. Then we have the heavy whetstone. Shiny mirror. And yep, now we're into our armor ones, so blood vial. Closed seashell. Broken horn. I'm gonna actually change this to cold seashell, because it's for cooldown armors. And closed just is kind of boring. Cold seashell, broken horn, lucky clover, and instead of the mask for bonus XP, this is going to be the ancient tome, I guess. I'm not sure if I want to keep that name. We can always change it later. Okay, now we're into the one that actually provide passive buffs. So teddy bear, alluring bell, where's next? Yep, feather fan. The old Joker. I may rearrange some of these, but maybe not. Actually, I don't really think the order matters. Silver coin. Ornate key. Smoke bomb. Trying to keep naming schemes consistent for basically everything in this game. Like, everything's got like a prefix and then a suffix. Like, the prefix is a descriptive thing, and then the suffix is what the item actually is. That's true for items, weapons, armors, keepsakes now, apparently, trinkets, whatever you want to call them. I want to keep things kind of consistent. Tranquil water. I'm just going to call this the rare voucher. Yeah, that should be good. Warding mask. And strong liqueur. There we go. Okay, now for the descriptions. Grants plus 15% chance of finding fire weapons, ice weapons, shock weapons and armor, weak weapons and armor. This one here is knockback weapons for the brass knuckles. Yeah, knockback weapons. For the golden wing, it would be fast weapons. Heavy whetstone is crit damage weapons. Ooh. I need to check something real quick. I don't actually know if the word crit damage is spelled... Oh, what did I do? What did I do? Where did I... Oh, pfft. Should probably add commas separating each of these array items. Yeah. All except for the last one there. Good. Pretty sure Damien has a crit damage dagger in this file. Is crit damage spelled... Nope, crit DMG. That's the name of that accessory. So crit DMG weapons. Now the chance of that, do I want it to be 15% across the board? We can worry about that later. Let's just get this functional. So knockback fast, crit damage weapons, and multi-weapons. Then the blood file is regen armors. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good. So we got regen armors. After the blood file, we've got the seashell, which is cooldown armors. After cooldown armors, we got thorns from the broken horn. The lucky clover gives less crit. And the tome gives bonus XP. Blah. Okay, now we're into the descriptions that are going to be a little bit more descriptive, not quite as consistent in their format, so let's just... cinch these up, and then I can just write descriptions from scratch. I do want to keep the descriptions relatively consistent in their format as well, but we'll kind of go with fix that as we go along here. So, teddy bear restores 10% of max HP when proceeding in a dungeon. Restores 10% of max HP when proceeding in a dungeon. Yeah, that should be fine. When I'm trying to think of a way to make sure that the descriptions fit within a certain window size. So let me think about this for a sec. What does the teddy bear do? It restores 10% of your max HP whenever you progress to the next floor in a dungeon. How do I make that shorter? Restores 10% of max HP when... I'll come back to that one. That wording doesn't seem right. Proceeding in a dungeon. What does that mean? Proceeding. Like walking around in a dungeon? I know in my mind that means when you go to the next floor. Somebody reading that for the first time, are they going to know what that means? That's kind of what I need to keep in mind as well. Is it clear to the player? So I'll maybe come back to that one. Alluring Bell grants plus 10% chance of encountering elite enemies. Yep. Considering it's only a 5% chance to begin with, adding an additional 10% to that, making it 15% total. Pretty good. Feather Fan. So the Feather Fan, normally a dungeon only has 3 items, just random like consumable item bags that can be scattered around in a dungeon floor. The Feather Fan, I want to increase that by 2 and make it so that there's 5 items that can appear on every dungeon floor. Grants +2 item bags per dungeon floor. I don't know if that's... Again, is a player going to know what an item bag is? It's never... That's not something that's ever been referenced by name in the game before. I'll maybe come back to that one as well. The Old Joker grants plus 15% crit, but minus 30% max HP. Yep, that's good. Silver coin. Grants a 1 in 3 chance of surprise encounters. That one is going to be a little bit tough to describe in just a short sentence. Basically what that's going to do is make it so that when you get into any given encounter, it's got a 1 in 3 chance of being a normal encounter, a preemptive strike, or an enemy ambush. And there's ways to counteract that, like using things like fast weapons that give you first turn priority anyway. So it's like that's a keepsake you would take if you have a party with a bunch of fast weapons, because then you basically just always will get the benefit from it without any of the risk. Ornate Key grants +1 item per chest. Basically, every chest that you open has an additional item. So you find more loot per chest you open. Smoke Bomb. This one's a little bit tough to describe in a short sentence as well. All this one is doing is if you fail a standard encounter, not a boss fight, but a standard encounter, if you die, it treats it as though you escaped the encounter and you get to continue once per dungeon. How do I fit that into a short sentence here? Say grants +1 chance to continue, +1, it's not a chance, it's a guarantee. Can survive 1 failed standard encounter. That's good enough for now. Can survive 1 failed standard encounter. Okay, yeah, we'll leave that for now. We'll maybe come back to it. I'm probably going to come back to all these descriptions later. I just want to get them functional. Tranquil water. No enemies will spawn every 5th floor. So basically, every 5th floor in a dungeon, there will be no enemies on that floor. Good enough, good enough. Okay, rare voucher. Can immediately sell, not can, will. It's not a chance, it's not a choice, it's a guarantee. Will immediately sell instead of salvage any item. Warding Mask grants +1 hit of damage immunity per battle. Ooh, I need to add more to this description. Grants +1 hit of damage immunity, but minus 30% max HP. I'm hoping some of these descriptions aren't too long to fit in the window, but we'll see. And then Strong Liqueur grants plus, let's go 30% for this one. I may change that later. Damage with overdrive techniques. Okay, that should be good. We've got our trinkets, icons, switches, IDs, names and descriptions all set. That should work. So everything that we have in place so far should work. I am realizing I haven't done anything to actually refresh the category window, so it's not going to display anything, and that's okay. We should be able to at least test this and see if it actually works now. So, I'm going to copy this line of code. We're just going to create a random NPC here. It's going to be Emily that's going to end up doing this. Scene, trinket. I believe that's all I need to do here. Yeah. Okay, let's test this. Let's see if we can at least get it to work. It should be, just in its most basic format, it should work. It's not going to be functional, but it should at least display the trinkets. So, first things first. Okay. That is the interface I want. Is it just me, or does this look off-center? It looks like there's way more space on the left than there is on the right. There is, because I subtracted 16 pixels from the window size, and I should have been subtracting 32, because it's 16 pixels on either side. Yep, so I do need to center that better. And then this is where we'll have our actual, like this window is where we'll display our categories, whether we're looking at the trinket menu or the challenge menu, with some button prompts to show that you can tab between them. But this window here is where our trinkets will actually be displayed, and the information for them should be displayed at the bottom. So let's make some of them actually appear. And all I should need to do to make that happen is this. I'm going to turn on a few of them, but not all of them, and see what we do. So we should have the charcoal, the lotus, the knuckles, the wing, the vial, and the horn appear. There we go. Okay, so we've got the glowing charcoal. Description grants plus 15% chance of finding fire weapons and armors. Good. The deadly lotus grants plus 15% chance of finding weak weapons and armors. Grants plus 15% chance of finding knockback weapons, fast weapons, regen armors, thorns armors. Okay. Let's go one step further. Let's bring all of them in. There they are. Oh, and look at that. They fit perfectly in the window. When you've got a full set of 24 keepsakes, they all fit perfectly. You don't have to scroll. Oh, that's perfect. 24 was the perfect number. And let's just check all the descriptions to see if they actually fit in the window here. Looks like it. Restores 10% of max HP when proceeding in a dungeon. Okay. Grants plus 10% chance to encounter immediately enemies. 2 item bags per dungeon floor. Some of these I can actually expand. They have 1 in 3 chance of surprise encounters. Plus 1 item per chest. Survive 1 failed standard encounter. I can... Oh, hold on. Yep. Some of the icons here are not quite lined up properly. Yeah, charcoal, coral, yarn, lotus, knuckles, wing, whetstone, mirror, vial, seashell, horn, clover, tome, teddy bear, bell, fan, joker, coin, key. Those are all fine. The smoke bomb currently has the icon for the voucher. That's not good. Tranquil water has the icon for the smoke bomb, and the voucher has the icon for the water. And then the mask and the liqueur are switched as well. But it looks like the descriptions all fit so far, and the one that probably is closest to the edge of the window is maybe the brass knuckles. Or no, the static yarn. I'd say the static yarn is the one that's probably the closest to hitting the character limit for the description. Maybe. Or maybe the, yeah, no, I'd say that. Okay, so I do need to fix some icons. That's fine. So, Smoke Bomb needs the one for the Tranquil Water. The Tranquil Water needs the one for the Rare Voucher. And the Rare Voucher needs the one for the Smoke Bomb. And then I need to switch the Warding Mask and the Strong Liqueur. Before I do that, I want to do one last thing. I want to check to see if the icon that I'm using to show which one is equipped is actually displaying. So for that, we need to go to our variable... Our trinket variable, which one is that? 185, I think. Yep. And I'm going to set this to 14. Now we should have something displaying a green box around the teddy bear to show that it's equipped. Yes. Good. That is indicating which one we have equipped. So let's actually just kind of test that with a couple of different ones just to make sure. Let's see. What's trinket 4? Deadly Lotus. Okay. Yep, that's right. What about 24? Should be the mask. Or the, well, the, yeah. The last one. Nice. Okay. This is good. That's working. Okay, so we've got our UI in place. It's still not functional, but the UI is actually working now. At least for the trinket menu. The challenge menu is going to take a little bit more time. How long have I been going on stream here? I actually don't know. I get distracted and wrapped up in what I'm doing, and then I forget how long I've actually been streaming for, and let me actually just check here. I don't know how. It doesn't matter. Okay, we'll just keep going. I want to get this system fully implemented, at least for being able to select the trinkets. The actual implementation of each individual trinket may take quite a bit more work than what I have time for to do today. But we'll see what I can do. Okay, so let's switch up those icons, make sure that everything's actually looking good. So the smoke bomb needs the icon for the water. Is that right? So it should be like that, that, that. And then these two need to switch. Okay, let's try that again. Test our UI, make sure that it's all looking good. Once again, I'll increase my window size so that you can see what's happening. I would put full screen, but for some reason, it actually makes it worse. When I go into full screen with this, for one, it stretches the window stupidly. For another, for you, the viewer, OBS doesn't like VX going into full screen, and it just creates a tiny window in the corner that's so small you can't even see it. So this is the best way I can increase my window size. Okay, so first things first, let's set our variables to make sure that we've unlocked all our trinkets. It's not variables, it's switches. And let's see if we got the icons right. Okay, yep, Smoke Bomb is right, Tranquil Water's right, Rare Voucher's right, Warding Mask and Strong Liqueur are right. Good, okay, yes, that is great. I like it. Okay, I'm going to come back to the descriptions later, I'm not going to worry about it too much right now. I could actually add a second line to this, but it would require a second... No, I'm not going to worry about that. I'll come back to the descriptions later. Right, I do need to center this text in that window as well, so I'll do that now. And then let's actually put in the UI for tabbing between categories as well. And then we'll start making this more functional. So, in the window header... Where is it? Refresh header, here it is, okay. So the X, Y, and width, there we go. So instead of 288, this was 304 minus 16. It should have been 304 minus 32. So we're going to subtract 16 from this. 272. That should center that text better. Now, okay, category window. I'm going to create a method here called refresh category. And this is where we're actually going to do everything for our category window. Now, I think what we'll do here I think I'll go with font colors to indicate which one is active. Because that's similar to what I'm using for my menu system options. So I think what we'll do is... okay. Actually, first things first. I should get the icons that we're going to use to tab between these. So just mark my spot there. I'll actually just, so that I can find it easily where I'm working. Let's go to our loot table, because this... I should just be able to draw directly from here. Is it label? Nope. Yes, it is. There it is. Okay. That's what I need. I need that code right there. I'm going to bring this in. Now let's see. X, Y. I think that's actually already correct, but I'm just going to double check. Minus 32, minus 24, yeah, 248. Okay, that's perfect, actually. I don't need to change anything there. Good. So that will display our button prompts to indicate that you can tab between the categories. Now we're actually going to draw the categories themselves. So what we're going to do, case... Oh my gosh. Menu type. When 0. Else. Probably don't need a case when statement. I could probably just use an if else, but I do like using case when statements because they allow for a lot more flexibility when you're working with large variable numbers. I'm just used to it at this point. Again, spaghetti code. Okay, so the menu type, when 0, that means trinkets is active. We're going to do, this is where I'm actually going to go back to our menu system options, because this is where I have the code that I need. There, where is it? Menu system options, there we go. Let me just make sure. Yeah, no, we're good. Okay. All the way down here. Just gonna copy this for now. I will modify this as we go. Okay. So text 1. We don't actually need to have that in the case when. We can take that out because it's going to be the same either way. Text 1 is going to be trinkets. Text 2 is going to be challenges. The font color. Ah, you know what? I don't need the case when statement at all. That's a good point. I can just do that. There we go. Font color. Nope, I do. I do need that. Ah, okay. Never mind. Well, yeah, no, that's what I'll do. Okay. Ah, okay. That's what I need as well. Menu system options. What is the color that I'm actually using here? Text color 8. Huh? Is that actually right? No. That's not right. Oh no, it is right. Okay. Oh, jeez. Oh, no, it shows that I know. Sorry, this is kind of boring, but... That'll do. That'll work. Yep. So, if we are... in the trinket menu, we're going to go with this one here, and we're going to... okay. Let me make sure I get this centered properly. 304 minus 32 minus 48 divided by 2. That's how much space we've got to work with for each category, 112. So, it should be oh, my brain. Yes, okay. So we're going to draw text at x position of 24, y of 0, width of 112, height of 24, text 1, centered, normal color. I don't need to store that in a variable, I can just do this. There we go. Now, bleh, 112 plus 24 is 136. That's where we need this one here. X position of 136. Y position of 0, width of 112, height of 24, text 2, challenges, centered. Yes. Now we just basically need the same thing here. You know what? This is a lot more duplicated code than what I need. I'm just gonna make it functional. I will optimize it a little bit later. Make it work first, make it pretty second. There we go. Good, okay. That is our category window. Good, okay. Let's see, update, good. Okay, next, let's start by implementing the ability to tab between menus. Then we'll go back into, yeah, that already works. This is basically where we can select everything. We'll come back to that. Reveal guide, reveal prefix guide. We don't need any of those. We don't need that. No, we don't need any of that. Oops. Sorry. Ah, jeez. We don't need any of that. Good. Okay. What I do need is which system controls am I using for L and R? The best way to figure that out would be this here. Yes, okay. That's still display, that's not functionality. It's down here, there we go, okay. Please repeat. Trigger. There it is, 3 and 4. Is L and R. Okay. Yes. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to go back to our trigger interface, and I need this line of code here, but it's for 3 and 4, so this doesn't exist, so we will do that. There we go. And we are going to actually remove all the code for if I press the select key, because I don't need to worry about that. I will keep 1, but I don't think I need to worry too much about that because I'm writing this all from scratch. Okay, let's see if item is not equal to nil, then do that, otherwise play this on buzzer. Yes, that's good. And here, else if keys trigger 3, so we press the L trigger, L button, and actually 3 or 4. We can basically make it so that if you hit L or R, it's going to tab between them no matter which one you're at, because there's only 2 categories. It's basically just rolling over to the next one. Okay, so what we're going to do there is basically all this is going to do is change menu type based on, yeah, menu type be equal to 1 if menu type, I missed an ampersand there, ampersand, at symbol, whatever, if menu type is equal to 0, and vice versa. No, I do need to do that in if else, otherwise it's just going to change it and then change it right back. If menu type is equal to 0, set it to 1, else set it to 0. There we go. Then we will play a sound effect here. Not shop, decision. We're not buying something, we're selecting something. Actually, you know what? Cursor, maybe. There we go. And then all we need to do is refresh data, refresh header, and refresh category. Yep, I think that's it. Let's test it. We should be able to tab between categories now. I don't know how this is going to work with the lack of a challenge menu. So we'll probably need to actually implement that now. I'm just going to make some trinkets appear, just so that we have something to... Oh, I should probably increase my window size so you can see what's happening. Okay, okay, well, I know exactly why that happened, because when we initialized, we didn't actually refresh our category window. Refresh header, refresh category. We should do that right at the start. Okay, now let's try. So we should have enough functionality to be able to tab between the menus. We still can't really select anything, but that's fine. Yeah, okay. Really? Why did that not work? Oh. I actually think I can just do self.contents. Nope. I do need that to be... And I'm actually realizing I need to do that with this as well. Because it's not self-referential. Yeah, I'm not working within the script of the category window. It's just using window base. It's not self-referential, so I do need to make sure that I'm referencing it directly. Okay, that should work now. We're good. Let's get some trinkets. And... oh, come on. What happened this time? Oh, okay, that was just stupid. I'm assigning a variable. I don't need to... yeah. That's where I was supposed to do that. Derp. One more time. Should work this time. And if it doesn't, then I know I did something wrong. Oh, come on! Why is that not working? I think it's because actually icons are different than text. They actually don't need to apply to the contents. They actually can just apply directly to the window. It's a bit of a weird thing how that works. I'm actually just gonna... no, I think that... oh, what? No, that actually worked for some reason. I don't know why it's breaking there, though. That makes no sense. What do you mean normal color is not a variable? I'm using window base. Window base has normal color as a... What's the variable here? Undefined local variable or method normal color. I'm using window base as the parent. What if I do this? It's probably not going to work, but now it should. If I'm using window base as the parent for that window, no, it just doesn't like that. That's cool. I'm using window base for the parent window for that category. What do you mean you don't know what that method does? If I go to window base and I look for text color, it's right there. That is a method within window base. What do you mean you need a local variable or method for that? How did that screw up? How the heck did that screw up? That doesn't make any sense. Maybe I need to do... I think because I'm not working within the window... Yeah, I'm doing this all within the actual scene itself, which is not how you're supposed to do this. I should really create a separate method for the window itself. I think that's... Yeah, I really should be doing it cleaner, but it's okay. I think this should work now. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Alright. Okay, let's actually test this out, see how this works. Okay, there. Good, we can tab between menus. Let's add some trinkets to see if it properly erases them when we tab. So, here we go. Select a trinket to equip. Here's our list of trinkets. You can see here, we are in the trinket menu, and there are button prompts to indicate that you can tab between them. If I tab over to challenges, that's not supposed to happen. It's supposed to erase this and display a list of challenges, which we don't have any, but that's fine. It's funny how the description window didn't display properly. But okay, at least our label windows are functional. Now we can actually work with everything else here. That's something I should probably do. Let's see, where is it? Stats window, that's the one. Let's see here. Refresh the stats window and we tab over. Otherwise it's just going to stay with what it had before. Item window, index, and data. Yeah. That's the other thing I should do. Is as soon as I do that, I should actually set item window index to 0. So that when you tab over... Oh, excuse me. Throat's been bugging me for a couple days now. Yeah, when you tab over, it should start at the top of the window instead of just starting kind of in a random place. Okay, I think that's good for now. The data we do need to, yeah, refresh data. That's where we need to work next. Refresh data. Oh yeah, that's why it wasn't erasing anything, because when I tab over, it doesn't do anything to replace data. Wait, yes it does. It empties the array. Hold up. Yeah, menu type is equal to 0, then set it to 1, otherwise set it to 0. And then it's refreshing the data, emptying the array. Oh, because I'm not actually refreshing the... I'm not actually refreshing the item window, that's why. Well, durr. Okay. Where is it here? Yeah. So item window.refresh with the data and the menu type. Refresh data, header, category, stats window, and it is item window. So the item window displaying the list of every item that we're actually tracking. In this case, either our trinkets or our challenges. Data and menu type. Oh, dot refresh. Oops. There we go. Now when we tab over categories, it should erase things. Yeah, because we're changing our menu type, we're setting our index. The data gets refreshed when we refresh the data there. That's good. And then we have very little left to do. Like, we'll then still need to actually implement the challenges, and those will just be available from the beginning. We don't need to hide some of them just because, like, you should just always be able to see the challenges. So, here we go. Here's our trinkets, there's our challenges. Okay, let's see what happens when we unlock some trinkets. Okay, these are the trinkets that we have, quote-unquote, unlocked. If I tab over to challenges, yes, it should replace them with the challenges that we have. If I tab back over to trinkets, it redisplays them. That's good. And it's updating the description window at the bottom so that it doesn't keep things for no stupid reason. Yep. Good, good. No, that is good. That's what I wanted. Okay, good. Next up, let's actually set up our challenges as well. Then we can... Oh my gosh, my throat, man. You know what? Okay, actually, no. Before we do that, let's make this functional here. Okay, refresh data. Yeah, we'll figure that out. No, get the trinkets functional first, then we'll implement the challenges. Okay, so... I'm going to do this from scratch. So, if we are in our trinket menu, and we select one, what we want to do is... bleh, sound, play, decision. Then we need to set game variable 185 to the ID of the trinket we have selected. So, game variables at 185 is equal to... you know what, first, actually, let's go item is equal to data. Oh, I'm already doing that. Yep, we've already selected it. Item is equal to data at item window index. Good. So item at 0, because that's the ID. I think that's literally all I need to do. I think that's literally all we need to do, and then just refresh the item window so that it actually displays the box over that. Yeah, I think that's it. All we're doing here is working with game variables and switches. We're not adding or removing anything from an inventory or, you know, changing different game settings. We're literally just working with game variables and switches. So if there's nothing, yeah, it'll play a buzzer. Good. But if we've got a couple of these unlocked, there we go. Yeah. It indicates that that is now active. And if I check my variables, 185 is set to 5. Good. And if I say, no, I want that one. No, I want this one. No, I want that one. Not this one. Trinket is set to 4. That's for our Deadly Lotus. Good. Let's say we've unlocked the teddy bear, but not a whole bunch of other ones. So I want to make sure that it's setting it to the... Oh, jeez, come on now. Setting it to the ID, not the item window index. So teddy bear is 14, but this is only the 6th trinket that we have in our menu here. So if I choose that one, it should be setting variable 185 to 14. Boom, right there. Perfect. Okay, that works. That's literally it. That's the entire implementation for the UI. Nice. Good. I like it. Clean, simple, effective. Doesn't need to be any more complicated than that. And then for the challenges, now we can actually work on that. And then from there, it's actually just implementing the effectiveness of the trinkets in the game itself. But our UI is working. That's all we need. Okay, now let's work on our challenges. This should be really, really simple. Make sure I add the comma there. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 23, because the teddy bear gets unlocked automatically. I may add more challenges with different rewards other than just making it so that trinkets are the rewards for the challenges. I want to make sure that the challenges that unlock trinkets are there first. So, let's see. The ID for these, 14 I believe is for the teddy bear, yes? Yeah, so we just need to skip 14. But the rest of them, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, skip 14, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. There. So that's the ID of the challenge that should align with the trinket that it unlocks. The switch that determines whether or not that trinket gets unlocked should be assigned to these as well. Again, I need to skip the one that unlocks the teddy bear. 81, 82, and that's the, yep, so now we're skipping that, so 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93. Good. Okay, I'll rename the challenges later, I think. But what I think I'm gonna do is in the challenge board, I'll show the name of the challenge and then your progress with that challenge. But I will also display the progress in the description window at the bottom of the screen. So I'm not too worried about the names of these. I can come back to that later. Again, let's just make this as functional as possible first. pyro. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Snowman. There we go. That's a challenge for selling ice weapons. Electrician. And alchemist for weak weapons. Okay. For knockback ones, we'll call it boxer, because that unlocks the knuckles. It doesn't matter. I'm going to change the names of all these anyway. You know what? Actually, let's just make this really simple. Really, really simple. I will come back to these because I don't have names for the challenges yet. I'm just going to make it so that they're named after what they basically do. Knockback, fast, and then I can change the names later. Crit damage, multi, regen. Oh, come on now. Stop it. Cooldown. Thorns, and then less crit. And finally, bonus XP. Then it's the teddy bear, so we skip that one because that one gets unlocked automatically. Okay, now we've got the bell. Then we've got the fan. We've got the Joker. We've got the coin. The key. The smoke bomb. The water. The voucher. The mask. And then finally the liqueur. I know that's not how you spell liqueur, that's just liquor. I just can't think of the spelling in my head right now. Okay, so the challenge descriptions, that's what I want to work on next. So, sell or salvage, up to 20 fire, ice, shock, or weak weapons and armor. For specific accessories, we're just going to make it 10. Good. Knockback weapons. So it's knockback weapons, fast weapons, crit damage weapons, and multi-weapons. So once you've sold or salvaged enough of those, you get the trinket that lets you find them more frequently. Regen armors. 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 Armors, because we've got 5 accessories there, so it's going to be regen, cooldown, thorns, yep, then less crit, and then finally bonus XP. Okay, now we're into the slightly more unique ones. Okay. For the bell, I think what we're going to do is... I'll actually come back to that one, because I'd like it to be that you have to defeat a certain number of elite enemies to get the bell, because that's the one that attracts elite enemies to you more often. But it may just be defeat a certain number of enemies. The fan allows you to find more items per dungeon floor. I think for that challenge, it's going to be just collect a certain number of items throughout the dungeons. Because those bags are sometimes often easy to ignore. I want to encourage the player to actually engage with that system and pick up those items. Let's maybe go that they need to collect 100 of them. 100 is actually maybe too easy. Just on your first run through the first dungeon, you can get 15. Let's do 300. Collect 300 item bags from dungeons. So the threshold here is going to be 300. I should change the thresholds on all of these. There, yep. 20 for the elements, 10 for the accessories. I do need to change the variables for these. Yeah, 161, 162, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 70, 71, 72, 73. I just realized I selected a variable for the bear and I didn't need to. That's fine. 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84. Good. Okay, so all our variables tracking our challenge progress have been assigned. We got the IDs assigned. We've got the thresholds. That's the other thing we need to do here. So fan is going to be, we need to collect 300 item bags from dungeons. The Joker. So the old Joker increases your crit chance but reduces your max HP. What's a challenge we could do to make it so that you can unlock that? I could make it literally just score a certain number of critical hits. It's not really... I mean, it's not something you need to go out of your way to do, though. Although it may potentially influence playstyle of like, okay, I'm going to choose more weapons that have higher crit chances, or use skills that have high crit chances to try to hit that challenge a little bit faster. And if you don't, you'll hit it naturally anyway. Threshold I'm probably going to change at some point, but we'll just, yeah, we'll make it score 150 critical hits. Okay, the coin. So the coin makes it so that when you get into an encounter, there's a 1 in 3 chance of it being a normal encounter, a surprise encounter, or an ambush. I could just make it so that that one's get into a certain number of enemy encounters. That seems boring as well. I'm probably going to come back to some of these challenges and revise and revamp them. But sure. Yeah. Get into, say, 200 standard enemy encounters. Bosses don't count. That's also not a bad thing, because it does encourage the player to actually seek out enemies instead of just avoiding them in the dungeons. Okay, the key is going to increase the amount of loot you get from chests. Let's make that challenge open a certain number of chests. How many do we want here? You can get 1 per dungeon floor guaranteed, or as many as 3 per floor. So in your first run through the dungeon, you'll probably open 7 or 8 chests. We could make it 50. It seems a little light. 50 to 100. Let's start with 50. I'll maybe increase that threshold later. Yeah, I'm going to come back to these later. The nice thing about this is that that threshold, all I need to do is change the variable here in the module. I don't have to change anything else in the code where I actually do the implementation. So the implementation of these challenges will be easy enough to do, because all I need to do is go to that part of the code and then make it increment a variable every time that happens. But the threshold you need to complete the challenge, all I need to do to change that is change it in the module here. So open 50 chests. Now the bomb, the smoke bomb makes it so that you can survive a standard enemy encounter if you would normally die. And it is treated as escaping an enemy encounter. So what I think I'll do for this one is make it so that you have to escape a certain number of encounters to unlock this keepsake, this trinket. So escape, we'll make it a smaller number. Escape 30 standard encounters. Okay. The water... The water makes it so that enemies don't appear every 5th dungeon floor. This one I think I'm going to go very, very simple. Kill a certain number of enemies. We'll make it a fairly high number, but we'll go kill 500 enemies. And if you do that, you unlock the tranquil water. And the idea is that you've killed so many enemies that some of them just don't appear on dungeon floors. Jeepers, my throat, man. So I'm actually going to go back to the bell now. Defeat 10 elite enemies. And that will unlock the bell. Now for the voucher makes it so that anytime you salvage an item or a piece of equipment, it'll instantly sell it instead, so you get gold instead of materials. For this, I can either make it so that you have to have a certain amount of gold to unlock it, or you need to sell a certain number of items. And I think I want to make it a gold threshold. The only problem with that is that it's going to get... It'll be tough to unlock early, but eventually it'll be very, very easy. But it also gives an incentive to actually save your gold instead of spending it. Again, might come back to that one later. Let's just say... have 30,000 gold. Now the mask gives you damage immunity for 1 hit per battle for every party member, but reduces your max health. For this one, I'm trying to think of what would be simple enough to implement as well without going too complicated. I could also just go something completely off the rails with this. It doesn't have to be related to the keepsake at all. Maybe I'll come back to that one. This one's going to be easy, though. Use overdrive techniques. And since you get... let's go with 100 for now. The point of these challenges as well is to encourage players to engage with certain parts of the gameplay that maybe they would otherwise overlook. That one I actually like because it makes... I've seen so many players just... Their overdrive gauge fills and they just don't bother using overdrive techniques. It's like, they're actually really powerful and useful. You should probably make use of them. What's a good challenge I could do with this one? I know exactly what I'm going to do. Clear a dungeon with at least 15 pain. So the pain system is a difficulty system. That would be challenging, but that's a really powerful keepsake. Yep. I think that'll do. Okay, good. Now, we don't need to draw icons here, but we do need to draw text, so... Oh no, what have I done? Hold on a sec. Yeah, I used my D-pad and I wasn't supposed to. There we go. We're good. Okay. At least I didn't mute myself. Okay, so we're gonna draw text. This is the... Okay, so what I want to do for the challenge, we're going to... We don't need the icon, so I'm going to make sure that that's aligned within the rectangle. Good. The name. And then we're also going to draw the progress. Yeah, okay, I think I know what I'm going to do here. So we will go text is equal to item, nope, so first things first, it's going to be the, this is the variable tracking the progress. So item at 1. Game variables. Yep, okay, yep. Game variables at item at 1 dot toString. There we go. Plus that. Plus item at 2 dot toString plus, there we go. Okay, and now what we're going to do, we're going to draw that text. So self-contents draw text. The x coordinate is going to be, yeah, x, y, width, height, but the alignment is going to be right aligned. That should work perfectly. Okay, that should draw the challenge. So to draw the challenge name, your progress to the challenge, and the threshold you need to hit to complete it. Now here's one more thing. While I draw this, I also want to make sure that the text color changes to green if you've completed that challenge. And I think for that, yeah, that's the switch that determines whether or not you've unlocked the keepsake. So if that switch is set to true, then it should change the text color to green to indicate, yes, you've completed this challenge. So let's see, 0, 1, 2, 3. If game switches at item 3, else, and this is within a window text box, so yeah, we can use, oh jeez, let me go back down here. I'm just gonna steal this. No, that's not what I meant to do. Self contents font color. Now I need to get the confirmation color here. So that would be, should be that one there. So 8, 7, 6. Text color 6. Good, so if you've completed the challenge, it should show text color 6. So, like, it should show display it in green text. Otherwise, it'll just display it in white text. Yeah. Okay, that should be good. Now refreshing the data. This is where we actually display them. So for I in challenges.size, and I'm gonna make sure that I'm referencing the proper module here. Oh my gosh. I don't need to check to see if you've unlocked the trinket to display it, so I can just... Yep, there we go. That's good. Just display all the challenges at once. And then here... Okay, so now when you've actually completed a challenge, you need to select it to mark it as complete and then unlock the trinket. So what we will do is... Okay, we've selected the item. We're going to check if item at 1, the variable that you're tracking. No, hold on. Game variables item 1, there we go, is greater than or equal to item at 2, the threshold that you're trying to clear. And actually I should also do a check to make sure that that challenge hasn't already been completed. So let's do that first. So if game switches from item at 3, is that right? Let me make sure, I think that was correct. Yeah. Yeah, let's do this in the proper logical order. So if you've already cleared this challenge, we're just going to play a buzzer, just to say, no, you've already completed it. Stop trying to complete it a second time. But if you have not completed it already, then we're going to check to see, okay, is the progress that you've made on that challenge greater than or equal to the threshold that you're trying to hit? And if it is, you know what, if it's not, come on now, we're going to play a buzzer. But if it is, then we're going to set the variable for that challenge. So, we're going to go game switches for item at 3 is equal to true, and play decision. And then refresh. Blah. Item window. We do need to refresh the data. Actually, do we need to refresh the data? I don't think we do. No, because it's pushing the, yeah, no, we don't need to refresh the data. We just need to refresh the window. And that should do it. So if the threshold has been hit, we're going to change the switch to true, play a sound to indicate that we have selected that, and then refresh the window, which should change the text color to green. Okay. Whoop. Let's do some testing. That should, oh, come on. What did I do wrong here? Oh, yep. I think that's it. Yeah. Okay. Let's do some testing. There we go. Didn't crash. Okay, so first things first. We should already have the bear unlocked when we go to our trinkets. Now if we go to our challenges... Bleh! That was wrong. Okay, first off, it's displaying an icon that it's not supposed to. Second of all... Oh god, what have I done? Zero, 1, 2, 3, 4. Item at 4. That's the first text it should be displaying. It should be displaying the name of the challenge. Then it should be displaying the text, the line of text that we actually established here. Okay, should work now. Let's try it. Okay, let's unlock the bear. And let's see. Okay, here's our teddy bear. If we go to challenges, boom. Here's our entire list of challenges. It's not just displaying things correctly in the description window, though. Yeah, I do need to change that. That's fine, I will do that. But it is displaying our list of challenges, our progress towards it, and the threshold we need to complete it. Okay. Let's change our description window here. Where is that? That would be... What window is that? It's right here. Okay. Yep, this is... Okay, I need to... Stats window. Everywhere the stats window refreshes, I need to add in one more parameter here. Menu type. Which description are we actually looking at? I think it's just those two places. Okay, good. Now we can go back here. And where it says refresh, menu type. There we go. Now, if items not length is greater than 0 and items not equal to nil, then we can, yeah. Case menu type when 0, do all of this. Else, do all of this. So let's actually just kind of copy this for now, and then we'll kind of replace it. So we're going to draw the name. We do not need the icon. There is no icon for these challenges, although maybe I should. You know what? Let's maybe include the icon as well. Because then it indicates what trinket you're actually unlocking. Let's do that. It does mean that I need to add an icon index to all of these. 912 is the first one. Let's add at the end here. It doesn't really matter. I would like to keep it more organized, but Do I want to do that? Do I want to add an icon for all of these? Maybe not. Not right now. I may come back to that. I'll come back to that. For now, we're gonna go without. Okay, so X, Y, width, height. Okay, this here. I need the name. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So item at 4. That's the name of the challenge. The description is item at 5. Good. And we can probably draw the progress as well. Oh no, what have I done? Should be working on this part. Item at 4. Item at 5. There we go. That's good. That's better. Okay. And I can probably draw the progress as well. I'm just going to copy this for now, bring it back up here. X, Y, width 467. Why is it 467? That doesn't make any sense. 604 minus 32. 572, that's what it should be. Width, height, the text, but the alignment is aligned to the right. Ah, no, I don't like that actually. Better yet. Text is equal to item at 4 plus all this. With a space. There we go, easier. Okay, now the description should be working, so let's take a look. I don't really need to unlock the teddy bear to make this work, but I'm just gonna do it anyway. Oh, too far. Okay, so we got our teddy bear, and we go to our challenges. Boom, the K. There's our... Okay. We've got our challenge name, our challenge progress, but down here it's not showing the progress. But it is showing the description. I think I may add the icon. Yeah, the icon for the trinket that challenge unlocks. I'll put it in front of the name of the challenge and make it display over here as well. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. But why didn't that... Oh, jeez, that's why. Text. There we go. Oh. So I'll bump that over by 24 pixels, and then we will actually draw the icon. Now I do need to add the icons then. So 912, we're gonna have to add it at the end here because I'm already... Yeah. 912, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Gotta keep a close eye on what I'm doing here. 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and that. Okay, now we're past the teddy bear. 24, 25, 6. Oops. There we go. 927. 928. 929. 930. 931. Oh, I already must screwing this up. Yeah, 15 is 929. Oops. 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 936, 937, 938. Good. Now I can reference those icons here. That's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Item at 6. Okay, that should do it for the description. And yep, that's good. I don't need to worry about it for that one. Okay, let's take a look at that one more time. And then let's see if we can actually get the text to highlight green once we've completed the challenge. Okay. Okay, there's our teddy bear. There we go. There's our list of challenges with the icon indicating which keepsake it unlocks once you complete the challenge. And it is displaying the progress now as well. That's good. Good. Okay, that's great. So now, let's see what happens if, let's take this bonus XP one. Let's find our variable for that one. That's our challenge progress. Which one is the bonus XP again? It doesn't, well, no, it does kind of matter. It's the tome, right? Yeah, there it is. Okay, so I'm gonna set this to 9. There, and it's showing 9 out of 10 for our progress with bonus XP. Now, if I just select one of these that is not quite finished, yeah, it just plays a buzzer. Good. What if I set the tome to 10? So now we're 10 out of 10 on our progress with the tome. There we go. Okay, so now the text on that is green, and now it just plays a buzzer. And if I go to my trinkets, I should see that trinket now. Yeah, there it is. Perfect. And I can select that. Great. Okay. What happens if it exceeds it? It should be the same, but it should show 11 out of 10. Yeah, less crit is now 11 out of 10. I can select that, and it unlocks that trinket. Good. Okay. What happens now, though, if, because there's some of these where it may fluctuate in progress, if it goes below that, it still is showed as unlocked, and yeah, it still just plays the buzzer. Yeah, nothing weird there. Good. Okay, so we've got our challenge board, we've got our trinket menu. We can unlock trinkets as we hit the threshold on that variable to hit the progress. Good. I'm realizing some of these icons aren't correct, though. Yeah, no, I messed up for the... Yeah, the bomb has the voucher. The water has the bomb, and the voucher has the water. Yeah, okay, yeah, that was the same problem we ran into last time, because my icons in the icon set are not aligned with the order that they're in. So the bomb should be 935, this should be 936, this should be 934, and then this should be 938, and that should be 937. There we go. Let's try that one more time, just to make sure. There we go, yep. Smoke bomb has that, water has that, the voucher has that, the mask and the liqueur. Good. Good. Okay. I'm going to rename the challenge names to something more interesting, but that works. Also, I'm going to give these a little bit more better descriptions. Okay, there we go. So now essentially what I need to do is take that scene and make it so that once you've completed Emily's first side quest where you retrieve her teddy bear, she provides a second text option that basically says trinkets, and it allows you to open up that trinket menu, as well as maybe a little bit of a description from Emily saying like, hey, since you found this, why don't you take it with you? Maybe it'll bring you luck or something. You know, I'll work on that a little bit later. And I actually need to now work on implementing the trinkets into the game itself, make them actually do what they say they're going to do. That is going to take quite a bit more work, so I'm probably going to save that for a later day. But I pretty much know how I'm going to implement all of these. So for example, the encounter, basically I'm just going to make it so that it triggers a switch that, yeah, like I know how I'm going to do the implementation on all of these. But I've been streaming for, I want to say at least 3 hours. It's probably been more. I lose track of time when I get started on a task and I don't know how long it's going to take. But hey, that is good progress for today. We implemented a brand new system where we can unlock them as we complete challenges. All I need to do now is not die. All I need to do now is actually implement the functionality of each trinket into the game, which is very easy to do. Well, I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's very doable. And then implement the tracking of each challenge and increment variables at the appropriate points when those challenges make progress. That can all be done fairly... I don't want to say it's easy or simple, because some of it can be really complicated, but yeah, that's all I have left to do for this system. But hey, okay, we implemented a new scene with some new UI that I think looks clean and efficient and effective. I could probably improve on it later, but it's functional. And that's really all I need it to be, is functional. So I think I'm going to end the stream here. And yeah, that's going to do it for today. I'll probably stream development of this again later. I don't know when. Not today. Probably not tomorrow, because I've got a Hades live stream planned on my second channel, Struck Red, for tomorrow. I'm actually going to schedule that broadcast as soon as I'm done here. And yeah, I will spend some time actually implementing these keepsakes, probably on stream again soon. Maybe Monday, we'll see. I may do some work off stream as well, just to get that working, but then yeah, I plan on doing more streams of actually implementing this system more fully at a later stream. So that's going to do it for today. So thanks for tuning in, and I will catch you next time. Bye-bye.